just me and my camera, I promise. And then when you're ready to start, after I finish knocking things over, because it's that kind of Monday, y'all, I'm going to take a seat up on my jelly roll, right? So where I feel kind of a good balance, maybe you feel those sits bones, those bony protrusions pressing down into that blanket. I have the pads of my feet firmly planted, feeling at home here. And then we're going to walk our spine back down along the earth. And as you do, you're going to shimmy your buttocks forward. So your tailbone kind of slides down onto the earth. And then as you walk the spine back, as you lower it down into the earth, ooh, the floor is cold. Notice the sensations you feel. You might walk the heels of your feet closer to your buttocks just to sort of get some good support here. And the first thing we do is check in with our body. So let those shoulders rest down into the earth, the backs of the arms, and then decide, do you enjoy where you feel the support here in the bolster or the roll? And what we're looking for is to have it sit up sort of at the top of the tailbone here, right? Lower than the low back. And you might adjust it up and down just to figure out what feels nice. And then from here, when you're ready, let the head relax, let the arms relax. Maybe you let them rest down by your sides. Maybe their arms are resting out wide. If you want to open up the heart center a little bit, you might take the arms into goalpost arms, palms up, bending at the elbows. And then let's allow our mind's awareness to begin to sink into the body. And we'll do this just by taking a few cleansing breaths, maybe a deep inhale in through the nose, filling the belly, the lungs, the chest, and then let it all go through the mouth. A few more times, inhale, feel the stretch, the fill, the pull of those muscles, and then exhale out the mouth. Feel the body melt into the earth. Continuing these deep inhales, these full melting exhales. With each exhale, we're softening through the back of the neck, the shoulders and the shoulder blades, the belly and the hips. And then when you're ready, finding a little sway in those knees, left and right. And you might notice just a little sway here, how it feels on the low back with that bolster or that blanket rolled up underneath you. Can you feel the pressure, that massage, that sensation travel left and right as the knees sway? We're just noticing the pressure in the low back. Moving left and right. Now we'll bring the neck into this. And with the knees swaying, all we're going to do is turn our gaze on over towards the left. Maybe you let that left ear rest down on the earth. Relax through the jaw here. You might open your mouth wide. And then let it relax, letting the knees sway. The neck soften. That left ear grows heavy towards the earth. And then when you're ready, turn your gaze back up to neutral. And then rotate it all the way on over towards the right. Again, opening the mouth wide if that feels nice. And then relaxing the jaw, the neck, feeling the weight of the head grow heavy. When you're ready, turn your gaze skyward. Allow the knees to pause skyward as well. And then we're going to press our head directly back down into the earth. So the back of the head presses heavy. You're going to feel the muscles around the neck engage. Allow your jaw to relax as you continue to press the back of the head directly down into the earth. We're just warming up the muscles around the neck, the shoulders, the upper back here. Now relax the neck. Beautiful. From here, we're going to bring both knees in towards the chest. And this is where our strap comes in handy. Now you might bring the left knee in, strap it along the shin, and then bring that right knee in. You might simply grab behind the knees or atop the knees, but we're really just going to invite them up in towards the chest. You might widen the knees to make some space for the belly here. Feeling the low back lengthen as you pull the knees in, finding all that space in the low vertebra. This is a wonderful decompression move for the low back. You notice I'm taking a little rock to the left and right, and you might do this as well. This knees into chest is also wonderful for digestion. Wind relieving pose is often what it's called. And then when you're ready, drop the right leg down. We're going to keep the left leg up. And then we're just going to point and flex the toe. And you might let that right knee fall open towards the right, getting a little inner thigh stretch if that feels good. Pointing and flexing. And then pause with your ankle for a moment. Let's bring our neck into this. So as you point your toe, you're going to press your neck down into the earth. And notice as you press the neck down, the chin gently and just automatically tucks in towards the heart center. We're feeling the vertebra lengthen here now at the back of the neck, just by pressing the neck down as we point the toe. And then as we flex the toe up towards the heart, press through the heel, we're going to press our chin back towards the wall behind us. So you can feel the vertebra at the back of the neck compress. Now the front of the throat begins to open. And then if it feels good, move with your breath. The toe points as we press the neck down into the earth, the chin tucks. The toe flexes towards the heart as we press the chin back, moving at a pace that feels good to you. A few more times, back and forth. And then we'll start to do some toe circles, just drawing a big circle with your big toe. And then let's do the same with our nose if it feels good. And you might draw just as big of a circle as feels good with the toe, with the nose. Let it be messy, get confused, pause and restart. We're just here to explore. From wherever you are, go ahead and switch directions. All right. Let's switch sides, dropping that left leg down, bring that right knee in, point and flex, point and flex. One more time, we'll bring the neck in, pointing, pressing the back of the neck down into the earth, feeling the vertebra lengthen, soften, find all that space. And then when you're ready, flex the toes towards the heart, press the chin back. And our goal here is to just explore our bodies in whatever way brings us delight. We're not here to cause pain. We're not here to make whatever we might have been deceived into thinking are perfect shapes. We are just here to be, to breathe, to move, and to become so deeply acquainted with self that even in moments of dysregulation, we are still deeply in touch with self. All right, let's do little circles, and you might repeat those nose circles with those ankle circles, or you might let the ankle speak for itself if your neck is asking for a bit of a break here. There's no wrong way to be. And then reverse those ankle circles. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and switch sides. So dropping that right knee, lifting the left in. This time we're going to take our strap over the ball of the foot. And the ball is this front pad of the foot here. Keeping this right knee up towards the sky. So we often, right, I gave you that option to let it sink open towards the side. No more. We're going to align that skyward along with the pad of that left foot. And then holding either side of your strap, you're going to point and flex, but point by pressing into that strap and pulling back. So we're engaging the muscles of the legs here, doing some strengthening. You might find a little bend if you hyperextend the knees, my hypermobile baddies out there. And then flex the toes towards the heart, press through the heel. And then again, you might move at your own pace, back and forth. You might hold what feels good, but we're pulling on that strap. So we're getting some engagement in the arms as well. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to take both straps in the right hand. And then with the pad of this left foot pointed skyward, we're just going to imagine pressing the whole of the leg down into this jelly roll, right? So that the femur really sucks down into the socket. And then keeping that downward pressure, that anchoring spot here underneath that left hip, we're going to slowly slide that left foot on over towards the right, keeping the anchor here. We're not lifting the hip up off the mat. We're only going as far as we can, really pressing that femur down into the hip socket. For me, that's not very far, right? I can't really pull it very far across my leg. Nothing wrong with that, or across my body. And then when you're ready, we're going to rotate that foot back open towards the sky, switch hands with the straps, open it all the way out towards the left. Keeping that micro bend in the knees, relaxing through that left inner thigh. It might feel good to point and flex with the leg open here. You decide. We're really building strength in the legs. We're warming up and loosening the hips here. All right. And then let's draw that all the way up and let's switch sides. And let's do it by bringing our right leg up and then woohoo, we are inverted for a moment here with the bolster or the blanket underneath your hips. It lifts them up, and our goal with an inversion is to have the hips above the heart, and here we are. So switching sides, dropping that left leg down, the strap comes over the ball of that right foot, and we point and flex yet again, holding that strap as taut as feels good to engage the muscles of the legs. Beautiful. Taking it at your own pace. And then when you're ready, both straps into that left hand, we're going to really envision pulling that right femur down into that right hip socket, really grounding it down into that jelly roll. And then slowly that right foot, we cross it over towards the left. Ooh, only as far as it can go, anchoring that right hip down into that jelly roll. Breathe here. Soften through the shoulders, the jaw of your face. Let your tongue relax in your mouth for a moment. And then we'll switch hands with the strap as we rotate that leg on over towards the right. My wall is going to stop me here. But letting it open as far as feels good, and then maybe pointing and flexing. Maybe just hanging out in stillness, softening through that inner right thigh. Breathing deep into the belly. With each deep breath, we stretch all of those nerve endings, stimulating the vagal nerve, calming our heart rate, bringing ease to the mind. All right, bringing that foot back up to the sky. We're going to pause here. And now you can leave your strap here for this portion, or you can remove your strap. We're going to do some ab work. Ooh, I know it's what we all want to hear. So pressing through the heel, flexing the toes towards the heart. We're going to begin to lower this heel down towards the earth, and we're not going to let it touch. We're just going to let it hover. And then we're going to point the foot and bring it right on back up. And this is where you decide how much of the strap are you going to use. Flexing, pressing through the heel, lowering that leg on down. We're letting it hover, and then point the toe, lift the leg back skyward. So you can ditch the strap altogether, pressing through the heel, lowering it down towards the earth. Let it hover, point the toe, bring it back up. Let's do this twice more. Slowly lowering it towards the earth, let it hover, point, bring it back up. One more time, slowly lower, let it hover. This time, hang out here. Hang out in the hover. Hang out with the strap support or without. We're going to breathe here for a moment, pressing through that heel, flexing the toes towards the heart, engaging the whole of the leg. And then when you're ready, you might soften that heel all the way down towards the earth. Maybe it makes it there. Maybe it doesn't feel good in that low back. You decide. Take a moment wherever you are, and then when you're ready, point the toe, bring it all the way back skyward, and let's switch sides. So bringing that left leg up, flexing the toes towards the heart, pressing through the heel, lowering it on down, nice and slow. Let it hover for a moment, point the toe, and then bring it on back up. Flex. Lower, hover, point the toe, bring it back up. Moving at your pace, hovering for as long as you like, and then pointing that toe and rising. Twice more or so on this side of the body. And then when you're ready, we're going to lower and hover with or without the strap. Breathing into the belly, pressing through the heel of the foot, feeling strong in our body, strong in our core. And then if you like, lower the foot on down. Maybe the heel touches, maybe it doesn't. This is a deep opening of our front hip flexor here, but it can also compress the low vertebra of the back. So you decide. You can always keep that knee bent as you lower to bring some ease to the low back. And then when you're ready, point the toe, lift the foot back up. Let's plant it on down. And then we'll ditch the strap here, woohoo, for a moment. We're going to come into our bridge posture. Now, technically, just by having this underneath us, we're already in restorative bridge, which is glorious, but we're going to take it and allow ourselves a challenge to our body if we'd like it. So from here, to prepare for bridge, I always start at the top. I'm going to shimmy my shoulder blades together. My chest sort of puffs up off the ground, and I feel the backs of my arms firmly planted because the backs of my arms, the top of my shoulders, and the back of my head are really going to be the top part of my anchor for this bridge posture. So I kind of point my fingers up towards the sky. You'll hear teachers call this robot arms because that's exactly what it looks like. And then walking my heels of my feet up towards my glutes, my butt cheeks, really feeling a firm purchase through the pads of my feet. They're about hip distance apart. You might like them a little closer. You might like them a little further. You decide. And then when you're ready, we're going to press through the pads of our feet. We're going to drive through the pads of our feet as we lift the top of our pelvis skyward. And we're going to feel our tailbone begin to float up off the blanket, and maybe it hovers just a tiny little bit. Maybe you continue to drive through the heels of the feet, lifting the pelvis. You might even feel your glutes engage here. You might feel the quadriceps, the tops of the legs engage as you continue to press strong through the pads of the feet. Breathing into the belly. We'll hold this for 2 more breaths wherever you are. On your next exhale, lower those hips on down. Let them sink into the mat. You might even, or into the roll, you might even give them a little sway just to say thank you. And then we'll do this a few more times, moving with the breath. So finding your bridge pose, and then on an exhale, drive through the pads of the feet, lift the pelvis up. As you inhale, lower gently down towards the earth. Let's do this 5 or so times. Exhale, drive through the feet, press through the backs of the arms, lifting the pelvis as much or as little as you like, lowering it back on down. And listen, there is beauty in honoring our body exactly where it is, because there is no golden medal for making these shapes. There's no golden medal for lifting your hips up off the roll or bolster. The reward that we gain in yoga is from honoring us exactly where we are in our personal forms. Meeting ourselves where we're at and exploring with compassion, bravery, honesty. And today's or this week's focus is ahimsa, so nonviolence. Let's do this 1 more time or so for good measure, driving through the pads of the feet, lifting the pelvis, and then go ahead and lower. Now, 1 more time, we're going to do bridge, but that's simply to lift and to pull the jelly roll out from underneath us. And then from here, lowering those hips on down towards the earth. This is the first time they've really just laid flat. So you might just allow your mind's eye to notice, how does it feel in the low back, in the hips, just to lay flat against the earth. Let's take that knee sway 1 more time. You might notice how it feels different on the flat earth as opposed to your bolster or that rolled up blanket. And then from here, we're going to make our way upright. A few different ways to do this. Now you might roll over onto your side body and press yourself up into seated. Or you might grab the backs of the thighs and roll and rock your way up into seated. So you decide how you want to get there. But when you do, you're going to grab that bolster or that jelly roll yet again. You're going to place it up underneath your seat, and you're going to sit your sits bones on it 1 more time, keeping that strap handy. All right, so sitting, or seating, however you want it, whatever you're here to do. Up on the bolster, I'm going to extend the legs wide because we're going to start in a wide-legged posture. So my sits bones are up on this roller, this bolster, and you can't see it because my booty takes up all the view, but it's elevating. And if you all are my regulars, you already know this because I'll talk about it till I'm blue in the face. It elevates the hips. It allows us to roll the belly forward. It allows us to lift length through the top of our head with so much more ease. And then on an exhale, let those shoulders sink away from the ears. So just breathe here. We've changed our orientation, and now we let the breath move us, right? Each inhale brings length through the spine. Each exhale keeps that length, but softens the shoulders, softens the jaw, maybe even softens your gaze. Finding yourself exactly where you are. Maybe you relax any effort in your glutes, your butt cheeks here. Maybe the cheeks on your face relax too. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to find a little forward fold, but we're going to do it by first paying attention to our feet. So to get a nice forward fold, we're going to press through the heels, flex the toes towards the heart. And then we're always tempted to like take the widest forward fold that we can take. And my challenge to you this morning is take the comfortable one. Take the one that's offers a little bit of an adventure, but no deep sensation, right? No deep pain. And then as you fold, maybe you grab your blocks, maybe you hang out without them. There's no wrong way to do this. We'll walk the arms forward, making space for the belly, right? We pull the belly in between the thighs or atop the thighs. And then folding so slow, right? We take it so slow because we want to bring our breath into it. And each inhale is an invitation to press through the tops of the head or the top of your head. Each exhale, an invitation to lower your heart center and your belly down towards the earth. And check in with the toes because they often want to come in towards the heart center. We're just going to invite them back up towards the ceiling. As with each deep exhale, we surrender a little further. Maybe you find your sweet spot and you want to hang out there. Be there. We're just stretching the muscles of the low back. Stretching all of the muscles in the fascia from the toes to the heels of our feet, up the backs of our legs, up into the low back. And then when you're ready on an exhale, you might let the head drop low towards the earth. And now we bring that stretch up into the neck and the shoulders. Ooh, let the jaw relax here. And then you might walk your hands on over towards the right as far as feels good. Maybe that's just a little bit. Maybe that's a lot of bit, somewhere in between. And then when you're ready, walk your hands on over towards that opposite leg. Deep breaths into the belly as you flex those toes towards the heart. Walk your hands back to neutral and then using the strength of your arms, press up into the hands as you walk them up towards the body and then lift tall to the top of the head. We come upright. Remaining in this wide-legged pose, grab your strap or your dog leash, whatever you've got going on. And I'm going to spread it from knee to knee. And then I'm going to take a grip. I'm going to grab it above each knee. And I'm going to pull it tight, right? So I'm engaging the muscles in my arms. On an inhale, I'm going to press through my knuckles, right? So I'm lengthening through my arms as I lift skyward. As I exhale, I'm going to lower back down. So inhale, lifting, pulling taut on that strap as far up as feels good, right? You might even open up through the heart center, press it forward. And then on an exhale, we lower, keeping the strap taut. So we're engaging the muscles in the arms. With a deep inhale, we're opening up the heart center. Let's do this twice more. Deep inhales, pressing that heart center forward. Exhale, keeping it taut. We lower that strap on down. One last time. And then here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this in stages. So keeping this length between our knees, I'm going to, I don't know, about a fist width, widen it, right? So a few inches, 3 or 4 inches, I'm going to widen my grip on this strap. And then on an inhale, I'm going to do this again. Lift up overhead, swing it back, open up my heart, exhale, lower. And then I'm going to add a couple inches. This is what we're going to do. Inhale, lift up, press the heart center forward. Exhale, lower, add a couple inches. Inhale, lift up, press the heart center forward. Exhale, lower, add a couple inches. And you might soon realize as you inhale, You might be able to simply exhale, lower that strap behind you. Now, we're not here to cause pain, right? That's why we take it as wide as we need, widening it out. Sometimes I have to take it so wide that I almost have to like duck my head to get it over, to allow my arms to travel back. And maybe this feels good to y'all this morning. Maybe it doesn't. I like to hang out in the middle part, squeezing my shoulder blades together. This is a wonderful opportunity to squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then when you're ready, lower those arms all the way either behind you or in front of you onto your lap. And then from here, you're either going to interlace your fingers behind your back, or like me, I'm just going to grab my strap at my back, and I'll turn so that you can see me a little better here. I'm going to grab my strap at my back and use it instead of interlacing my fingers. So from our wide-legged stance, we're interlacing our fingers or grabbing that strap and then squeezing those shoulder blades together. And then once more, let's find our breath. Inhale, rise tall to the top of the head. Exhale, instead of taking a fold, let's simply lower our gaze down towards the earth. Feeling the length in the back of the neck here. You might even lean the heart center forward, keeping those shoulder blades squeezed, just so you can let the head hang a little heavier. Maybe find a little deeper stretch on the back of the neck there. And then when you're ready, you're going to roll your left ear down towards the earth, your right ear skyward. Maybe you open your jaw like we did on the floor earlier. And then slowly roll your gaze back down to neutral. And then on over towards the left, letting that right ear sink down towards the earth. Maybe you open and close your jaw a time or two here. All of the work that we're doing, loosening fascia, muscles that remain chronically tight, areas of tension, pain. When you're ready, lower your gaze back down to neutral. We're going to lift upright. Beautiful. From here, release that strap behind you. From our wide-legged stance, we're going to come into a 90-90. 90-90 looks like this. So I'm going to take my right knee. I'm going to bend it in front of me. So the outside of my ankle is placed on the earth. And then I still have my bolster up underneath me. I'm going to come forward onto my hands and knees. I'm going to grab my bolster and place it up underneath my right buttocks and thigh only, so that as I come and sit back down, my right thigh has support and my left thigh is sort of hanging. And I'm going to face you again because this will be easier for you to see from this direction. So all of the support is underneath my right thigh, excuse me. This is how we are. We'll come into 90-90 by then bending this left knee behind us. And maybe it feels good to bend that knee, maybe it doesn't. And I realize that now we're mirroring each other, so this looks like my right knee. And I apologize for that. Let me switch sides so that it looks correct for you all. So my right knee is in front of me, your left knee bent behind you, keeping this straight if that doesn't feel good, right? So here we are in this deep 90-90 stretch. If you're really feeling some tension here in this left hip, right, this hip crease, that's a sign that we need to put a little more bolster, a little more lift up underneath this right hip. So you might take your blanket and fold it in half and just sit a little higher. You might remove the blanket altogether. And then from here, we're going to bring the palms to our heart center in Anjali Mudra. On an inhale, find that height. On an exhale, we're going to turn in the direction of our toes. On an inhale, come back to neutral. So exhale, we twist. And as you twist, pressing down through this inner left thigh. Inhale, neutral. Exhale, twist, pressing down through this thigh. Inhale, neutral. Twice more, moving with your breath, nice and slow. We exhale to twist because it removes the air from our diaphragm and makes it easier to squeeze our torso. And then we're going to twist the opposite direction. So inhale, find length from neutral. Exhale, twist away from the feet. Inhale, come back. And I find it useful as I exhale and press away to still press down through this inner left thigh. Moving with the breath. Once or twice more at your own pace. And then from neutral, we'll take our right arm and we're going to plant it on our right, fingers pointing towards the right. On an inhale, we're going to sweep that left arm skyward, gaze follows, and you might even bring the palm of your hand back towards the wall behind you. Breathe deep into the belly here. If this doesn't feel good for the shoulder blades, you might just place the palm here on your chest and reach with the elbow. So you decide. On an exhale of your choice, we're going to sweep this left arm back through, thread it through the right, as much or as little as feels good. Pause here at the bottom. I'm going to pull my tummy atop my thigh. And as I thread this arm through, this is a closed twist. We're twisting across our body. That's especially hard for those of us with big chests and with big bellies. And so being able to lift it and maneuver it is very helpful. Sometimes practicing yoga in looser pants can be helpful when you have a tummy too. So from this closed twist, on an inhale, bring it back up and open. Exhale, close it up. Let's move with the breath 3 more times. Inhale to open, pressing through those left fingertips. Exhale, close, lifting the belly on this twist if it feels good. And then on your next inhale, press up to your neutral seat. From our neutral seat, we're going to come down into cobra. Now check in, right? This left knee might be asking for you to lengthen the leg, and at any point, feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to pull my belly atop my thighs and get ready to fold forward over this bent right leg. So from here, blocks can be super handy if you have those available. It can bring some ease to our practice. Otherwise, we're going to walk our hands away from our body, lowering the heart center and the belly, making space by pulling the belly atop the thighs, lowering the heart center down. And then when and if you're ready, you might even lower the head down as well. From this place, you might come down onto forearms. You might stay up on the palms of your hands. This can feel intense enough. We're softening through that right inner thigh. We're letting that left glute melt and hang down towards the earth. This might be exactly where you want to be, or you might take this into a pigeon posture, and that's entirely up to you, by straightening this left leg out behind you. And I kind of do that by coming up onto my palms, coming up onto the toes of this left foot, and then sliding it back behind me, right? So you can see I've just sort of maneuvered and slid it back there. Maybe just a little bit feels good, right? Maybe you get back there and you're like, oh no, pigeon, we won't go. Bring it on back. Bring it on back. Wherever you want to be. Surrender yourself in this moment. We are almost done. And then when you are ready, let's come back into 90-90 by sliding that left knee back up. We're going to walk the palms back up towards the body as we rise. And then we're going to switch sides. So coming in, back into our wide-legged stance, we're still going to have this bolster or the blanket up underneath our right hip. We're just going to switch sides. Going to let it be messy. Going to let it be not pretty. Going to sit the blanket up underneath the glute, that sit bone, and the thigh. And then here we are, bending that left knee, planting the outside of that left foot. Maybe this is where you hang, right? And this is what felt good last time. Maybe you want to take it into the fullness of 90-90 by bending that right leg behind you. And then take your time, adjust, add more height, take some height away, find out what feels good. And then on an inhale, bring length through the spine. On an exhale, melt those shoulders, soften through the jaw. Feel your power. And then from here, palms and Anjali Mudra at the heart center. Inhale to find length one more time. Exhale, we turn towards the feet, pressing down through that inner right thigh. Inhale to neutral. A few more times at your own pace. Taking this opportunity to breathe deep into the body, big inhales into the belly and the chest, deep exhales that invite a twisting to our spine. On your next inhale, find neutral, and then we'll turn towards the opposite direction on your exhale. A cross body twist. So this is a closed twist yet again. And you might notice as you twist towards the left that you don't have the same range of motion. This is true with closed twists. On an inhale, find neutral. And then when you're ready, planting that left hand towards your left. And if you've got a block, you can put it underneath your palm here. That brings a little less pressure onto the wrist. You might have a little higher than even that. So there's no wrong way to be if we're bringing relief to the wrists or the arms. On an inhale, sweep that left arm up and skyward. We're opening up nice and deep, holding it for just a moment here. And as we hold it, we're really pressing in to this left arm because we sometimes want to collapse into it, right? Like I want to rest my head on my shoulder. Whoop, nope. We're pressing down through the palm of our hand, finding all of this length. And then I'm actually continuing to press length through my spine here, pressing along through the top of my head as I open up my heart center into this twist. So we're really pressing in a lot of different directions, out through the spine, out through the arms, down into the floor with our hips. So much to notice here. If you'd like to start moving on an exhale, go ahead and close this twist. Lift the belly atop the thigh. Let's hang out here in this closed twist for a moment. You might feel the twist in the length of your spine as you do, knowing that the further that you thread this arm through this hole here made by your left arm, the deeper we get into the back, the shoulder blades. And then moving with the breath. On an inhale, sweep open. On an exhale, sweep it closed. 3 or so more times. Pressing out in all those directions, the spine, the arms, down into the floor, through the hips. Moving with each breath. On an exhale, close. On an inhale, rise up to neutral. Let's take our forward fold here. So pulling the belly atop the thighs, bring our length into the spine, and then forward fold. As much or as little as you like. Again, grabbing blocks. They are our best friend, props. In yoga, it used to be a thing. We felt so much shame. We still do. You might still. I struggle sometimes. Feeling shame that we need props to make certain shapes, to make things accessible, to make things feel good. And the truth is that this practice of yoga was meant for boys, and specifically prepubescent boys. And Krishnamacharya in the 30s had designed this physical practice of yoga to make little warriors. And he realized that you could take the 8 limbs, Feel free to continue to sink as much or as little as you like into this. You might even let the head hang heavy when you're ready. But his thought was, if he made the practice of yoga more physically vigorous, he could train these little royal boys to become royal warriors. And so that is where the intense physical practice of yoga comes from. But yoga has never been an intense physical practice, not until the 30s, not until Krishnamacharya. When you're ready, walk the hands back towards the body, press into the hands as we lift tall to the top of the head. Beautiful. And I forgot to turn this into a pigeon. So if you would like, let's go ahead and do that for a moment. You might hang out here. You might come into pigeon by coming down onto the palms or bricks and then lengthening that right leg out behind you as you lower the heart center. And I'll turn my body so you can see what that looks like. So from here, I come into my fold and I'm just going to walk that leg back. And if you find that your knee talks to you here, this left knee, you can invite the pad of the left foot towards the groin, right? With the heel comes towards the groin, we find a more natural bend in the knee as we fold forward here. Beautiful. If you're in pigeon, you might rise up tall. Just noticing what that feels like. Maybe you enjoy it. Maybe it's not your jam. And then when you're ready, that right leg swings back in. We'll walk our body up, our torso upright, and then come into our wide-legged fold once more. Whew. All right. From here, we're going to make our way onto our backs once more. So we're going to place the bolster aside, the blocks aside. You might keep your strap handy. And then from here, we're going to make our way back to where we started, except for without that jelly roll. So we're going to lower our spine down onto the earth, rest our head heavy. Allow the shoulder blades to find their home, the backs of the arms. Feel the pads of the feet secure in the earth, and then let your body melt. Maybe the arms are out wide, maybe they're above your head, just inviting in some good energy into today. We want to end this practice moving into the rest of our day with power, with awareness, with a lot of love and compassion and gentleness. And so once more, find a gentle sway in your knees. You might even heel toe your feet out wide, maybe even wider than mat distance apart, and then find that sway again. Notice how differently the sway feels here with the pads of the feet out wide. Can you let your knees fall fully to either side before lifting them up once more? Back and forth, we sway. Beautiful. From here, allow the knees to find stillness, and then we're going to bring them in towards one another. So pressing the knees inward and then pressing the inner thighs down towards the earth. And what you'll find is with the feet out wide, you'll come up onto the inside blade edges of your feet. And then for me, I'm feeling this a lot in my outer hips. Some folks feel this in the low back, in the outsides of the knees or the insides of the thighs. You might just take a moment and notice where you feel this. And if the answer is nowhere, heel toe the feet out a little wider and then press those inner thighs down towards the earth. When you're ready, release those knees, heel toe those feet back to hip distance apart. We're going to bring the knees in towards the chest again. And we have our strap handy for this. You might simply invite the knees in. You might use a strap. And then take a moment, just like we did at the beginning of practice, to roll left and right.
And maybe you remember how it felt at the beginning. It feels so differently here now. When we have a bolster underneath our hips, it's much easier to bring the knees up or the feet up. You might let that sway become exaggerated. How big can you sway left and right as we love on the low spine? And then wherever you are, we're going to let those knees fall over towards the left. Now, you might let them hang down on the earth. If you are hypermobile like myself, sometimes this is a wonderful thing. Sometimes I like to grab a blanket and place it up underneath my knees or a bolster to just ease the intensity of this twist. Because when you're hypermobile, we tend to, in deep twists of the low back like this, not need them as much. So, with or without support, caring for the body, you might tee the arms out wide. And then, if you want to bring the neck into it, lift the head, turn your gaze in the opposite direction of your knees, and then let your head sink back down. So, my knees are towards the left, my gaze is towards the right, and I'm relaxing through the neck, soften through your shoulder blades. You might even take a deep breath into the belly here. How does it feel to breathe in this twist? And as you exhale, let the body melt, let the knees melt, let the feet grow heavy. The body relaxes here, and if it shifts, let it. We're going to be messy. We're going to be imperfect because it's never been about making shapes. It has always been about what we feel and experience. When you're ready, lift the head, turn the gaze back skyward, roll those knees up, and then send them all the way over to the other side, grabbing that blanket or a pillow for support if it feels good. And then find where you want your arms. Maybe you do some of those angel wing sweeps, picking the perfect spot with just the right amount of stretch before you soften your arms back down. You might lift your head, turn your gaze opposite those knees, and then relax through the tongue. Can you feel your head weight heavy into the earth as the neck softens? Shoulders soften. The heart center softens. A deep breath into the belly. A nice slow exhale lets the thighs, the knees, and the ankles melt here. When you're ready, lift the head, turn the gaze skyward. We're going to roll our knees back up towards the sky, and then an option for a happy baby. Now, happy baby with a strap looks like this. I'm going to step the pads of my feet into my strap. And then keeping my feet shoulder distance apart, I'm going to bend my knees down towards the earth on the outside of my body, right? Keeping the pads of the feet skyward. I'm just going to pull the strap down towards the earth, inviting my knees out and down. And so here is happy baby. Now you might enjoy the strap. You might simply grab the backs of your thighs here or your inner ankles. You might take your peace signs, your peace sign fingers, and latch onto your big toe there. Whatever we're doing, we're using it to invite our knees out wide down towards the earth. And then you might come into ninja baby, which always cracks me up, by lengthening the left leg, keeping the right knee bent. You sort of look like you're going to hiya someone. Switching sides when you're ready, bending that left knee, lengthening the right, pressing through that right heel if it feels good, just like we remember, stretching the whole back of the leg, And then bend that knee. Maybe you take a little rock and happy baby as well. With the knees so far up, we've lengthened the vertebra of the low spine here, and now the pressure is on the mid back. So when we roll left and right, we're getting that massage further up the back than we did with the pads of our feet on the ground or even our knees in towards the chest. All right, when you're ready, release those legs. Let's come into a minute or two of final Shavasana here. Our Shavasana is our corpse pose, right? This is our let it all go, let it all hang out, let it be messy and perfect and still. And so you might lengthen your legs out. You might take up all the space that you can find. You might grab a blanket and curl into a little ball on your side. There's no wrong way to spend Shavasana. There's no correct shape to be in. All that Shavasana asks from us is that we give it all up. We've spent all of this time breathing, moving, feeling sensation in order to calm and focus the mind and the body. And here we are in stillness. We no longer have movement to calm and focus. It's just us. And so we soften through the backs of our arms, letting that softness trickle down into the palms of the hands and the fingertips. We let the neck relax and the head grow heavy as the shoulders seep into the floor beneath you. A deep breath into the belly and the chest, and a nice slow exhale invites the heart, the belly, and the hips to melt, along with your thighs, your knees, your calves, your ankles, letting that soft release trickle down to your toes. Here we are in stillness, in slowness. We're going to take this opportunity just to release anything that's lingering. And so you might take a deep inhale into the body on your next breath in, and a slow exhale through the mouth. Maybe even let it be audible as you exhale. Deep inhale into the lungs. And as we exhale, you might imagine just releasing any residual stuck energy in the body. You might imagine pain leaving the body through your breath. The stress and the hardship that lingers, that takes us away from this moment. We exhale. We exhale the pressure of the future, the shame and fear and regret of the past. We just let it all go. And as you hang out here in stillness, anytime your mind wanders, you start planning, thinking, judging, worrying. Take a deep breath into the body and let it all go. There is nothing but here right now in this place. And in stillness and release, you heal your nervous system, your body, your mind. You might find your natural breath at any point. Just surrendering into the soft stillness. Or you might continue those cleansing breaths to focus the mind. and calm the body. We'll take a few more moments here. Take one more moment to relax the shoulders, the glutes, the thighs. And then when you're ready, we'll invite a little movement, curling the toes, maybe making a light fist with your fingers. And then we'll open the toes, spread them wide, and let the hands follow suit. A few more times, little fists with the toes and the hands, and then open it back up, stretch it wide. You might make some ankle and wrist circles here. And then invite that movement deeper into the arms, to the shoulders, deeper up the legs, into the hips. Stretching, finding a little intuitive stretch. You imagine waking up from a long nap. Ooh, the longest, most loveliest nap of your life, feeling refreshed, feeling ready. And then if you would like, bending those knees, we'll roll over onto our side body and slowly press ourselves up into a seat. A messy, messy seat if you're me. Finding the posture you'd like to end your practice in. And maybe that's here in Sukhasana with legs closed, crossed. Maybe legs are extended. There's no right way to be. From here, you might close your eyes. You might even bring your palms to Anjali Mudra at the heart center. On a deep inhale, feel the heart and chest rise to meet the thumbs. As you exhale, maybe you take a little bow in the head. We spend time exploring, breathing, and being, growing deeper in our awareness and relationship with self, so that we can not only take this regulation, this softness out into the world with us, but also the awareness. We learn that with our breath, with awareness of our body, we can change the tide in our perspective, in our struggles, and how we show up for the world and ourselves. Thank you for taking this powerful time with me. And as you move through the rest of the day, take the breath with you. The light in the dark in me sees the light and the dark in you, and we are the same. Thank you for practicing.